We got so many safeguards. So are you interested in working next year?
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, thanks.
Keeping everybody straight up there in Mount Eden? No.
Too far away.
Y'all do what you want to do up there, don't you?
How you doing? I thought I could go through or not through there, but
Gotta be careful.
yeah, don't want to mess up everything equipment. That happened. Bring rain in with you?
Nope.
That's thunder,
Change the cable, but just put the extension back on. Don't need that.
I should have brought some electric.
You guys have to put it in my place. The staple. Carries like instead of lipstick.
Should always have that in the car because it solves so many problems.
Well, they say you can't fix it back there.
Pretty or good. You can't be both. Well, you can. You can try to use it. Okay. Yeah, it's like, looks like it's big now. I wish I was a weatherman. Get paid for getting 90% of the time. Well, you get paid for doing the same thing. I could pass that.
the bad thing is you get paid for doing it wrong there, just how long it will last.
Right, yeah. Got the culvert?
One of them. Threw the other culvert away.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Yeah, too.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Morning.
It's not going to be comfort anymore, huh?
Nope.
Is it true? True what? That, we have Fiscal about
It's nothing I can hear. I like that. It's class video. I will say about that part. We've got the class, but you know, we always sit on here. People are in there for us. Shot, you're going to go by and run. People to hard. They're more than do some instruction. You know, so that's the only thing I really like about it. You know, nobody would do that.
It's Scott's radio, that's what it is.
Not my radio, man. If it's causing trouble, it's y'all's radio. The same. Oh, it's the other guy. It's got. You want the wagon to your dad's or dad's or
Yes, sir. That first. Father God in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity that we can meet to discuss county business. Father, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for the forgiveness of our sins. And we ask this prayer in his name. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. our Kentucky flag. I pledge allegiance to the Kentucky flag, the sovereign state for which it stands, one commonwealth, blessed with diversity, natural wealth, beauty, and grace of womankind.
We'll call the meeting to order. And the clerk, please call the roll.
Squire Brewer.
Here.
Squire Mike Moody.
Here.
Squire Beaverson.
Here.
Judge Riley.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Jerry Moody.
Here.
All right, we're ready to do business. It is Wednesday, September 8th. And first order of business would be approval of minutes of prior court meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes with the changes or corrections necessary.
Motion.
Second.
And then we've got a second. Any changes? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Squire Mike Moody.
Yes.
Squire Beaverson.
Yes.
Judge Riley.
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody.
Yes.
Squire Brewer.
Yes.
Okay. Next item of business, communications from county judge. As everyone knows, Governor Beshear called a special session of the legislature beginning at 10 a.m. yesterday to discuss the COVID virus issue amongst a couple of other things. I want to add to the agenda the Mount Eden Fire District tax rates presented. That'll be the last thing. And the public school tax rate being presented. Animal control has received the new used Ford Explorer to replace the old Tahoe. The Tahoe is on govdeals.com, should be sold this afternoon. Currently is at $2,300. One reminder, mark your calendar for Taylorsville's Progressive Dinner is going to be September 25th. 5 p.m. is when that'll start. $30 per person. It is kind of a nice event. And that'll be followed up the next Saturday by the Oktoberfest event. Just want to kind of remind everybody we've got now 2 months from the date that people can begin filing for public office, 5 months from the deadline to file, 9 months from the primary election, 14 months to the general election, and 16 months to a new administration sitting at this table. So that is going to go by rather quickly. And I did look over if you have anything that you'd like to try to accomplish in the next 16 months. You've got a short time to do it, and get on it quickly. We do have to, and the budget process will begin toward the end of this month, first part of October, with my letter to the fee offices, and so then we'll be beginning to dive into the last budget for this fiscal quarter. So, I did kind of review, if you all recall, and I'll be glad to send you a copy of it. I gave you all a report back dated December of 2018, as prior to you all coming into office. And I would encourage you to review that report and to establish your own goals, although we're running short on time to accomplish much of anything. But I did find out the ARPA, any expenditures of ARPA funds is not going to be subject to the 65-35 rule in that last budget year. So I will be reminding you of that. That's all I've got. And we're going to move on to communications from citizens. Would anybody like to address the court?
I'd like to do this.
All right.
name's Scott Travis. I live over in West Spencer County. I'm happy to be in front of you guys. I admire what you do. It's a tough job. I've witnessed you here the last couple of months. And as any public service, it's always a tough job. When I was on the school board, Brett, it was a tough job. And but anyway, you have to make tough decisions. And that's why the county voted you in. And that's why we're all, looking forward to you all doing things for us, helping us out. But anyway, lots of tough decisions. But at the end of the day, think about the reason I'm addressing today is I'm talking about those ARPA funds. And the last few meetings, there's been a lady from KIPTA wanting to help administer them. And I thought that looked like a sensible way to administer them, just using KIPTA. So that's the main reason I'm speaking to you today. Regardless of if we agree those funds are needed or not, we got them. We're all patriots. We're all patriots. This county, Spear Spencer, is named after him. And he was a patriot. He was a militiaman. He died at the Battle of Tippecanoe. Don't know if you know that. The county was named after him in 1824. We're going to have a bicentennial in a couple of years. They're going to dig up this time capsule by the courthouse that they buried when I was a little bitty kid. I don't know what's in it because I don't remember, but I guess we'll see. But anyway, as a patriot, as a militiaman, you take what you got and you fight for your beliefs. You fight for your family. You fight for your people. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. And maybe in the future, that's what we might continue to have to do. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. The good Lord's in charge of that. And we talk to him, and I think we'll be fine. But at the end of the day, Spencer County has this money that can be used for lots of things. We can use it for water. I know of three: water, sewer, and broadband. I've had folks from Washington say you can use it for that. Boom. So any broadband expenditures that we have should be able to put them on that. Water lines. Where is there a need for water in this county? There's always been a need. If you don't have enough pressure, do you need another water tower? If you're at the end of the line and it needs a loop, so it'll be fresher water and people will have cleaner water there. If that's needed, let's look at it. The city over here has money also. Now, it'd be great for us to work with the city. I know that's sometimes a tough mountain to climb, but we can work together on water projects that'll help, again, benefit the family, us as patriots that we take care of, the family of Spencer County residents. Now, there's another bill right now in Washington. The Senate's already passed it. The $1 trillion infrastructure bill, not the $3.5 trillion that if they pass that, it's going to tax every small business in this country, probably out of business. You will not be able to pass your business on to the next generation if that passes, because that's how they're planning to fund it. So, unless we're in Congress, we can't change Washington. Now, we can fuss at Washington, but we know how they vote, and we can vote them out if we don't like how they vote. But anyway, that money, right now, this $1 trillion is sitting in the House. And the House is wanting to hold it hostage so they can pass their big one. Now, that is where we need to put our voices together. But right now, if that were to pass what the Senate did, there's $110 billion for roads and bridges, $100 billion for the electric grid, $66 billion for rail, $65 billion for broadband. And then here's the part that, to me, is a big waste. The climate is changing, but the climate's always changed. So, but I don't want to get into that argument. But there's $50 billion for climate resilience. There's $12 billion for carbon sequestration. But all those funds, as bad as we hate that money being spent for things, we do need to be able to tap into that money if some of it's available for us as patriots, looking out for the people in our community. So I thank you for your time this morning, Judge, Magistrates, Ken, Lynn, Doug. But anyway, as we move forward, let's remember that as a patriot, we have to take what's at our disposal and benefit our county family. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the court, communications from citizens? No, we're going to move on. Julie, you're up.
got several this morning. Where I'm gonna start is we had an ordinance number 1, and it is an ordinance amending Article 5, Section 500.4C, Section 501.4 C, D, E, F, and G, Section 502.4 C, D, E, F, and G, Section 503.4 C, D, E, F, and G, pertaining to dimensional requirements in the residential districts of the Taylorsville Spencer County zoning regulations. That came to you by motion of Commissioner Hunt, seconded by Commissioner Fowl, with all voting for this at the Planning Commission level. I know I brought it up at the last meeting and you all carried it to this one, so this would be considered a second reading.
Entertain a motion to approve the second reading.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion,
I'll second.
and we got a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, on page 41, there, well, all of it's just, there is nothing in there for electronic signs are prohibited, period.
That's just in a residential district for R1. I mean, we've got a sign regulation section,
Right.
but that's just set out in each individual section. They didn't want any kind of flipping, rotating, flashing electronic signs in a residential neighborhood or something.
Right. But I think it said that on each one of them.
It does.
That's just something that we can come back at that time and have it added on. If somebody, say a church wants one, you know.
Okay. There is an exemption, or an exception rather, in the sign regulation section for churches in whatever zone they may be in. The only thing, everything else is existing. The only thing we are changing are those things that were struck through and underlined.
Any other questions? Call roll, please.
Squire Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
No.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody.
No.
Motion passes.
Okay. I have one second reading and the rest are first readings. You want to do the second reading first?
Might as well.
Get it over with? Okay. I have the application of Cna F. Chesser for Darius Chesser requesting Ag 1 agricultural to R3 residential on 2.49 acres located at 235 Grace Run Road, also known as lots 15A and 16A of the Frank Young Division. This originally came before fiscal court back in July, and then you guys sent it back to fiscal court, back to planning and zoning, August the 2nd. So the planning commission, did what you all asked. They reviewed the comprehensive plan, and this is the motion that was made at the August 19th, planning commission meeting. Commissioner Mudd, I make the following motion on 6/17/21. The Planning Commission took up the application of Cna F. Chesser for Darius Chesser to change zoning at 235 Grace Run Road from Ag 1 to R3 on 2.49 acres. The motion made by Commissioner Travis included language that the change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. That motion to recommend approval of the change passed unanimously. Several steps ensued in this matter of relevance to this motion on August 2nd, 2021. The fiscal court, on motion from Esquire Jerry Moody, voted to send the application back to the commission to check that area in the comprehensive plan. Accordingly, during the regular meeting of the commission on August the 5th, 2021, the chairman instructed all members of the commission to review the complete comprehensive plan as it might pertain to this application. During the regular meeting of August 19th, 2021, the commission discussed the review and found that the application is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. Commissioner Knoll second with no additional discussion. That motion carried.
Entertain a motion to approve the second reading.
I make a motion to reject the planning and zoning's recommendation.
Is there basis? We've got a motion and a second. Is there a basis for the rejection? I'm not sure that's going to be,
Is it my understanding that if we reject this, then the 90-day rule takes effect and it does get approved?
No,
No.
I mean, it's at your disposal now to make your decision. I will again, as I have at meetings past, if you make a motion, either way, put findings with your motion. That's the only recommendation I can make to you, is you need to make findings as to why you're making the motion or the action that you're taking.
I think that's.
But
my
on this
concern
one
with
here, the
motion.
date, as far as 90 days, does run out the 15th of September. So today would be the day you need to vote on it unless you held a special meeting or something before. the
So
15th.
if we reject it
Then it's
and send
rejected.
it back, then
There's no
it's not
sending it back.
just reject it, not send it back,
Right.
then does the 90-day rule come into play there at all?
Only if we take no action.
It's only if you take no action.
Then explain to me what happens next then, if we
If you reject it, it's rejected. And that's it. And I'm hoping you're saying by rejected, you're saying you're denying it? Is that what you're saying? Are you denying their zoning change? I guess I need clarification on that.
I think his intention is that he wants to deny it, so I guess the language would be, you want to amend the motion to say deny instead of reject.
I make a motion to deny. Planning zone. Recommendation.
You second the motion.
Second.
Well, again, we've got a motion with no basis to deny. I think that's clearly arbitrary. It presents a problem, so my recommendation would be to vote against this motion. So I'm going to leave it up to the members of the court if they do what is right and bear the consequences. So, any other comments, questions, concerns?
Julie, was there anybody present to speak?
What do you mean present to speak? Like at the
Well,
planning
you
commission?
asked, are you all going to take any public comments on this at all tonight?
I mean, there were people present, but what happens as,
Chairman Deacon said no.
because he didn't open the public hearing back up? Now, we have a time in planning and zoning, you have a public hearing. And then after everything has been, all testimony's been given from both sides, then they close the public hearing on that application and then they take their action. So what they did is they just opened this up for discussion because you all asked them to review the comprehensive plan. No public comment was gonna have anything to do with them reviewing the comprehensive plan.
Julie, do I have it right that the opportunity for people to make their public comment known was on June 17th, 21?
That would have been that first meeting.
And that
Yes.
has a direct citation called recommendation that goes through the motion to recommend rezone and blah, 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 blah. But then it says the change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there is no one here or on Zoom to speak against it. So,
That would have been at that particular meeting, yes.
just to be clear.
We had more than,
Still
we
an
had more than one
opportunity where
hearing on
Chairman
it.
Deacon could have listened. He could have allowed folks to, like we need the government to allow his people to speak. He could have allowed that, correct? Or would he have had to have advertised it as a hearing?
As a hearing. Because like I said, what you all did, you all kicked it back for
Right,
the
I
planning
understand that.
commission to check their comp plan. And that's all. So that's what they did. They checked their comp plan, and they felt that they didn't do anything wrong. They felt like they had followed the comp plan.
Okay.
Well, again, we've given with this motion no basis for denying this, and there's no vote. Any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Is there any reason why we want to deny it? Just to deny it,
First thing, I disagree totally with Plum on their decision. And the way I understand it, once we reject it here, then it goes before a judge, is that correct? If they appeal it. And then we can have a hearing, and everybody can get in, and the public can speak. Planning and zoning is not God. And so, I mean, how y'all vote is how you vote. But we're here to serve the people, not planning and zoning ideas. I mean, you seen what happened in Alice Landing. And the chance for the public to get involved more in it, and they can go before and speak. And this whole thing started back on when everybody was on Zoom, and what percentage of the people in that area have a computer and let up, and which ones can get on there to even talk. And even though we're faced with bad disease, we still got to have the public has to have a right to come and speak with me.
But they did have a right to come and speak to me, and they chose not to, is that correct?
No, they did speak at the first meeting.
Okay.
There were people that spoke at the first meeting. People were on the telephone, people were on Zoom.
Okay.
And then there were questions of those people at the first meeting. And so the planning commission held it over to a second meeting. And at the second meeting was where nobody was present.
I've got a question that on any rezoning, you're required to post a sign on notice on the property itself.
Yes.
You're also required to mail notification to adjacent property owners. If anyone else.
Anybody that touches the land receives a letter.
Touches that land. So
In the paper.
anybody, I mean, the public was, and it's advertised for.
Right, it's in the newspaper.
So the public was sufficiently notified of the request for a zoning change. And, it was not until after the first reading, and I guess some phone calls, and, I think we tried to reverse course. I don't know, I don't think we have a solid basis for denying this. I think planning and zoning, may not agree with everything planning and zoning does. They do a good job. If we don't want planning and zoning, maybe the proper course would be to go about trying to get rid of planning and zoning. I certainly wouldn't recommend that. But anyway, we've got a motion.
Really on the notice provisions, like, the court is in a bad position today because the zoning 90 days runs.
No, it didn't run until the 15th.
Okay, so if we were to hold a special meeting, we really couldn't get our notice out in time to comply with the statute on how many days you're supposed to have your notice out and go to the newspaper. Can you enlighten us about those notice provisions and the time frame?
As far as,
It looks like the court is not in a position to hold a special meeting in a day or two and be able to get all the notice stuff done in time to hold their own hearing here in the courtroom and do findings of fact, blah, blah, blah.
as far as the planning commission, and I'm not sure how that would work with the fiscal court notices, We have to advertise at least 7 days before the date. It's no less than 7, no more than 21. And then our letters to adjoining property owners have to be 14 days.
So 14 days already puts us at the 22nd of September, which is past the 90 days.
Today's paper's already been printed, so next week's it'd be 15th, and that would be same day time runs it.
So I was just trying to see if there was an opportunity for the court to do their own findings of facts, but it looks like from the notice provisions, we just can't do this in time, right?
Really, if I could ask, as far as reach there, do you know how many people were sent letters, how many surrounding families, property owners, and how many people spoke against this?
We have a lot of action in this file. All right, let's just look through what help it.
Yeah, what was the date that they spoke against it? I couldn't find that anywhere.
The first meeting was June, the 3rd, I believe. Okay, so,
That in our
all right, I'm
packet?
far enough away from you all. So, Stevens Dairy Farm is a adjoining property owner. They got notice. These notices went out May the 19th, letting people know June the 3rd was their meeting. So Stevens Dairy Farm, Stephen Thomas Pruitt, James William Satterley, Michael Ray and Melina Monroe, Courtney Dillon, New Hope Town Hill Tabernacle, care of Carlos Rogers. Those were the ones that got adjoining property owner notices. And again, there's a sign with 3-inch tall lettering posted by statute on the property. It was in the newspaper, it was on Facebook, it was on our website. I would have to pull the minutes, I don't have those back here with me, from the June 3rd meeting. I do know Bill Drury was on the telephone that night. Tracy Cox was on Zoom, because I could see her on there that night.
So Jared could make his motion based on the meeting minutes of June 3rd, 2021, and there we do have findings of facts. And obviously, some of the public was not thrilled with the zoning change. So I guess if you wanted to amend your motion to be based on those findings.
So just two?
Like, I'm pulling that off of memory, I said I'd have to go get the minutes.
Oh.
But I do know those two were on there that night. I remember those two.
Was that a hybrid meeting where you had some people in here and also some people on Zoom or on?
No, the way we did the meetings at that point was the planning commissioners were here, and then everybody else was on Zoom or on the
But
phone.
do you recall, did anybody send a letter of objection? I mean, that certainly could be entered into the record, I would think.
No, if it is, it would be noted in those minutes. The only letter that I have in here was a neighbor, find it again.
For the driveway?
Mr. Monroe, there was a letter, and I've got it in here. Somewhere. That's the one property owners. It's a letter from the neighbor on the, being able to cross his property until they got an entrance in place. Just had it.
So
That's that way.
it sounds like if your motion is to reject it, then it should be based on those June 3rd, 2021 minutes. They did a subsequent meeting that we reviewed this morning, but that didn't have public comment at all. but the June 3rd, 2021 minutes, according, it seems like we did have public comment. So I think if you wanted to put findings of fact into your motion, that you should make it based on the June 3rd, 2021 minutes of planning and zoning.
Now, I will say this, the June 3rd meeting was continued, so they didn't take action on June 3rd. They didn't take their, commission didn't take their recommendation or put it in place until June 17th.
When did they close the hearing?
On June 17th
June
was the last
17th.
time that they heard from
So
anybody.
people concerned.
Right, because there were questions, and so the applicant went to where, because they were questioning, I would love to give you all the minutes, and like, if you all want to hold this over here until the end of the meeting and do this last, I'll go make copies. At the first meeting, they did discuss RM zoning. And so the one thing that came out about that was the applicant didn't think that the roof pitch met RM. And he agreed to go to the home company because the home he put money down on was sitting on the lot. It wasn't one he was having made. So he wasn't sure what the pitch of the roof was. They continued it so he could go do his homework and find that information out. Then he brought that back to them on the 17th meeting, and that's when they made their motion and put some binding elements on it.
So the number of days from the time that you post a sign on the property to the letters going out, I assume that's about the same time frame. The letters go out to the adjacent property owners.
Right, they're out 14 days in advance.
14 days in advance.
And
of
the
public
sign is
hearing.
posted 14 days in advance. It's all about statute.
So all that was 14 days prior to June 3rd, and then it was continued to June 17th, and the sign is still out there. People should have been adequately notified. So there was ample opportunity. I think a lot of this came about after the fact. But anyway,
So, out of the 7 surrounding properties, none of them had an issue, or coming forward, planning and zoning and expressed an issue. Is that correct?
The only person that came in that was immediately close was Ms. Cox.
Immediately?
And when the adjoining property owner letters went out, her property wasn't even in her name at that point. So that went to a J&B Investment LLC on Mount Vernon Drive in Shelbyville.
And out of all the other people that are in that area, only 2 people come forward to speak against this?
Again, I'd like to get those minutes. I don't want to speak out of turn. If there's somebody I'm forgetting, again, that was like the 3rd day, like I said, of June. But like I said, I do remember Ms. Cox being on Zoom. And I know Bill Drury was on the phone. But a lot of water went under the bridge since then, so I don't want to say for sure that was all. There may have been more.
Well, by my memory, that's the only 2 that I remember reading about in your minutes.
Okay.
And that, Tim, that seems to make that June 17th the hearing record because they continued it.
Right.
Right, when I gave you all, and I would like you all to comment on the information sheets I've prepared for zoning in this.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, I
The-
would like those.
Okay, but the 90 days did not start until the June 17th.
Right.
It did start June the 3rd.
Right.
So we're really beyond 90 days in
And we approved the
essence, but
first
we're
reading.
okay, we're legal.
We approved the first reading, if I'm not mistaken. And then, after that, all this came up after the fact outside of a public hearing. And
Do we even approve the first reading, or we just listen to it?
You just listen to
Yeah.
it first reading.
I'd just like to say that, we have ordinances and regulations in the county, including planning and zoning and what other agencies. And these were written by powers that were in years ago, and they've been amended over time, as we've amended one today, that if we want to change something, that we need to change the law. And if we don't agree with the law, whether it's a state or federal law, we can't break that law. And then for a reason that we're using to say we don't like the law. You know, you're gonna get punished if you break the law. If the speed limit says 25 down Main Street, and you say, I think it should be 35, and you go 35 and you get caught, you're gonna get a ticket. Okay? The proper way is to come back and to amend those laws, and through hearings or whatever. So I think here, you know, we're denying the rights of Darius Chesser also, you know. He's got a stake in this. He's got a monetary stake in this. He's got a lot of time involved in it. And so by denying it, we're denying his rights also. I mean, is it, the rights of the many outweigh the rights of the one or the few? I mean, I don't know, but I think the proper way to handle this is if we don't like what the law says, the ordinance says, then we change those.
Well, I think what he's putting in there, they have already amended the law, so he can put it in there. Because I think the rule pitch do not meet, is that correct?
Well, no, that's why we're asking for the R3. Is because that's what it takes for it to be put in there. And the request, I mean, the neighbors, a few that did ask, had asked that the planning commission look at the residential manufactured zoning. And that's where he couldn't meet the roof pitch on that because the home is already built. And so that's why what they did is they did an R3 zoning, which is a little bit lesser class, but they're stacking these binding elements to tighten it up on him, that it has to be, you know, one dwelling. It had to be on a permanent foundation. It had to have a front porch. It had to have a back deck or a patio. In other words, they made it so that the only thing he won't meet, basically, of an RM zoning would be the roof pitch. So he's entitled, it's an R3, but he meets everything of an RM except for roof pitch.
But then, if I understood you right, at one of these meetings, you said that RM would be a lower rating from an ag or something, and it would not work.
No, the RM is higher of a class than the R3.
And he meets
And that's-
everything except the roof pitch.
Right, and so that's why I was saying, whenever somebody's asking for something like this, we can't give them the higher class, but allow them to do less. We can give them a lower class and make them do more, and that's what they've done. They gave, their recommendation was give him the R3, but make him do that permanent foundation, make him do that porch, that deck.
And what Jim was referring to, he's got money. Every property owner on Grace Run Road has got money in it. It's gonna lose money on this zone. And we have rights too. And I feel like we're getting sold down the road. The gentleman bought the place, bought the manufactured home before he ever had a place to put it legally. That's not the property owner down Grace Run Road's fault. Period, paragraph. And I noticed an early one, they got some empty lots. So let's get some R3s up there.
Julie,
And over where you live at, let's get some R3. Where you live at, you bought a lot next to you to prevent it.
that's correct.
Now, I'm for the people on Grace Run Road that live there, that's got roots there, been there forever. And I'll continue to fight to hell freezes over.
My legal advice would be, if you're still wanting to reject that, Jerry, that you need to amend your motion to say, based on the hearing record, findings of fact that the landing's on June 17th. Just in whether.
Okay, then I'll just make it.
If that's your intention, I think your best legal option is to cite for the June 17th.
Okay, we'll change the motion then.
You'll have to make a motion to rescind, to rescind or to amend your motion.
To amend the motion
To
make.
to include that,
And what's the verbiage now?
based on the June 17th hearing.
Based on the June 17th hearing.
And then Mike's second.
Second. So Julie, did they come in before and ask for a zone change before he purchased the house?
I don't know if he's purchased the house. I mean, my understanding was, I think he had to put money down to get them to hold it for
Did he come in
him.
and talk to you about doing the zone change prior to that taking place? And my understanding was you sort of guided him to the,
Well, right, the reason I guided him to R3 is because half of one of these lots, we're talking about two lots here, 15A and 16A, and half of one of the lots is already R3. So without changing it and getting it completely R3, we're leaving land out of compliance. We're going against our own rules and regulations by leaving that one set there out of compliance. And so, my thing is, we've always, at the planning and zoning level, tried to look at what's in the neighborhood. You know, I think if you read your minutes from the last zoning board meeting, I think Anthony Travis even noted in there, he was always taught that if you could throw a rock and hit that same zoning, you know, you felt like you were safe with going with that same zoning, that it was within that area. You know, so there is other R3 in the area. This part of the property is already R3, so I felt safe at guiding them to ask for the R3. Also knowing that we weren't sure that the home that they were looking at would fit in the RM zoning. But, you know, just like anybody else that walks in that door in there, you know, you make your application, you go through the process, I can't guarantee you anything.
Can I ask a question? Obviously, the planning commission added stipulations and binding elements to approving the R3. Do you know, can you talk about why they did that? Was it as a result of some concerns of residents?
I feel like it was, yeah. It was because of the neighbors asking questions and having
Are
concerns.
there any other, and you know, I know people, you know, regardless of whether it's accurate or not, this is a manufactured home, a lot of people with trailers. Are there any other properties along Grace Run Road that have trailers?
There are.
Any zoning, ag, I mean, for example, ag zoning, you could put an trailer.
You could put a single wide on it.
Single. So that, therefore, when I look at the map, I mean, I see trailer going through there. I don't think this thing is really going to do anything to.
Well, and we changed the zoning within a year ago to an R3 for a single wide that's sitting at the end of Jimmy and Sandra Stewart's driveway for Mr. Monroe. So it's not that this is a completely new thing to have an R3 on that roadway.
Who are you gonna stick here?
And also butts up against the R1, is that correct?
I don't think there's any R1. There's agricultural there.
Okay, what is that house?
Most of the, I'd have to go get the zoning map. But most of everything there, I mean, there are several manufactured homes on the Frank Young division that fronts 55. I know, like I said, I know Miss Chester's property, part of it is R3. Right up the road is like I said, it's a single wide, at the end of the Stewart's driveway that Monroe's own, that's R3. I mean, there's several manufactured or single wide mobile homes right in that area, but they're not necessarily on an R3 zone tract land.
The majority of what you see.
Some of it is on ag.
It's on ag. Would a farmer's allowed to have one trailer or something?
Right, as a secondary residence.
Julie, was there ever a definition on substantial change?
I don't know that there was.
And then, Ken, any information that we had learned from any outside entities really can't come into play. You have to go with the transcript, correct?
Or hold our own hearing.
Without holding another hearing. Okay.
All right, we had enough questions answered and discussion. Lynn, do you need the motion restated since it's changed now a couple times?
I believe it's to deny the recommendation of planning and zoning based on the June 17th hearing of planning and zoning.
Hearing.
Hearing record.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Judge Riley,
No.
Squire Travis,
No,
Squire Jerry Moody,
When you vote no, I don't understand the difference between no and yes.
It's your motion, Scott.
you're
I know it's
denying.
my motion, but y'all voting no against the motion. What's that? Okay. I vote yes.
Squire Brewer,
No.
Squire Mike Moody,
Yes.
Squire Beaverson.
No.
Motion fails. I'll entertain another motion. I'll make the motion.
what was the vote?
It was 4-2, the motion
It
failed.
was 3-3.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I counted 4-2. Yeah.
4-2.
Okay, so the motion failed.
Motion failed.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to move forward. And I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and grant the zoning based on the findings of fact and recommendation of planning and zoning.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion.
Who was the second, please?
And Travis?
Thank you.
I think we've sufficiently beat it to death of just from Dave. Anybody have any comments? If not, clerk, call the roll, please.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
No.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
No.
Squire Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley.
Yes, motion passes. And we will move on. Compliments to you, Julie, on these
Yes.
summary sheets. It's excellent. Appreciate that.
All right, the rest of these are first readings. I have the application of MMS Land LLC requesting Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on 6.588 acres located on Lily Pike, which is Highway 623. Commissioner Fowle made a motion to recommend MMS Land LLC requesting zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on 6.588 acres tract of land located on Lily Pike, Highway 623. The comprehensive plan land use map indicates medium density residential, and the change for this would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. There was no one present to speak against it. Commissioner Mudd seconded. Motion carried. That is in District 4. Okay, we have the application of David and Vicki Webb for Nathan and Amy Riggs requesting R1 residential to Ag 2 agricultural on 5.56 acres located in the 7,000 block of Briar Ridge Road. Commissioner Mudd, I'll make a motion to recommend to rezone the application of David and Vicki Webb for Nathan and Amy Riggs requesting zone change from R1 residential to Ag 2 agricultural on 5.56 acre tract of land located in the 700 block of Briar Ridge Road. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low density residential, and the change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. There was no one there to speak against this. Commissioner Wheatley seconded that motion. Motion carried.
Julie?
Yes.
Is it 700 block or 7,000 block?
Oh, 7,000, sorry.
Okay.
I put my glasses on, now see. That's in
You're
District,
excused. Okay.
District 5. Okay. We have the application of John and Lori Wolf requesting Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on 15.195 acres total, located on Goose Creek Court. Commissioner Fowl made motion on the application of John and Lori Wolf to recommend to rezone from Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on a total of 15.195 acres located on Goose Creek Court. Those are lots 2A, 2D, and 2B. The land use map and the comprehensive plan recommends low-density residential. This change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there was no one there to speak against it. Commissioner Knoll seconded that motion. Motion carried. And this one is in District 2. Next, I have the application of Dwight Greenwell requesting Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on 6 acres and Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on 1.95 acres located at 1862 Hostrasser Road. Commissioner Fowl made motion to recommend fiscal court the application of Dwight Greenwell requesting zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on a 6-acre tract being tract 1 and Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential being tract 3 on 1.95 acres located at 1862 Hostrasser Road. Based on the following findings of fact, the recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. They heard testimony from the audience and think everybody is in agreement. We're good with this. Commissioner Wheatley seconded that motion. Motion carried. And this one is in District 3. Next, I have the application of Timothy V. and Jennifer G. Stevens requesting R1 residential to Ag 1 agricultural on 10.1093 acres located at 333 Cedar Point Road, known as lots 40 and 41 in Cedar Point. Commissioner Fowl made motion to recommend to rezone the application of Timothy V. and Jennifer G. Stevens requesting zone change from R1 residential to Ag 1 agricultural on 10.1093 acres located at 333 Cedar Point Road, also known as lots 40 and 41 of Cedar Point. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low-density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there was no one there to speak against it. Commissioner Mudd seconded that motion. Motion carried. That one is in District 5. I have the application of Jeff Whitaker requesting Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on 1.88 acres located at 3505 Lily Pike. Commissioner Travis made motion to recommend to rezone the application of Jeff Whitaker requesting zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on 1.88 acres located at 3505 Lily Pike. It does meet the comprehensive plan of medium density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there was no one there to speak against it. That was seconded by Commissioner Knoll. Motion carried. This one is District 4. And lastly, I have the application of Sunrise Market LLC requesting B1 commercial to B2 commercial on 1.55 acres located at 5469 Taylorsville Road. Commissioner Fowl made a motion to recommend to rezone the application of Sunrise Market LLC requesting zone change from B1 commercial to B2 commercial on 1.55 acres located at 5469 Taylorsville Road. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium density residential and mixed use. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there was no one there to speak against it. Commissioner Mudd seconded that motion. Motion carried. And that one is in District 3. And I think that's got it.
Those were, as I count, if I'm right, 7 first reading.
That sounds like a good number.
Correct me if I'm wrong, if there is a concern about any of these 7, as far as needing, let's assume that I've objected to one, and now is the proper time to send it back to planning and zoning, not wait until a second reading, is that correct? I mean, I know we can do it on the second reading, but it just seems more appropriate if there's concerns. And the objective of planning and zoning maybe was recommended, more appropriate time to send it back.
sometimes you just need more time to do, you know, do your legwork to.
Okay. All right. What else you got, Julie?
That should be all.
Okay. Maybe all been busy. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Next up is, Chris Lent is not here today, he had a conference to attend. I know he is working with the health district and the school system to establish a daily testing, COVID testing facility here in Spencer County. I believe they're looking at.
It's already set up.
It is
At the old central office.
So central office of school
The
system.
public can use it, using their insurance, and then any school board employee can get tested at no charge, and students.
Good deal.
I don't know how long that's going to last.
Next, and I know we will have some bids at our next meeting on ambulance. Other than that, I can't think of anything on behalf of the EMS Safety Committee report.
We will still be working with Chris to come up with dates for the countywide safety training. We'll hopefully have that report on the next meeting.
Solid Waste Committee report.
Yeah, you know, we've got these large concrete blocks through grant money. We've got 67 supposedly up at the road barn. At storage, well, I asked the road department if they could not deliver those, that we'd sub that out on a contract to have someone to deliver them. But this morning I stopped by and the road department has started hauling those blocks down there. They probably got 15 or 20 load came in while I was there, so of course I was on vacation this week, you probably don't know about it. But anyway, they are being delivered, and Carrie and I have gotten together on how it's going to be laid out. And the road department's backhoe is over there right now unloading those off their trailer and stacking them up. But there's some ground to be leveled, make it level before we put that first foundation row in. And I'm going to go over next week, and Carrie and I are going to string that and get it laid out and see if the Bobcat at the recycling will pick one of these blocks up, which I think it will. Then the road department won't have to come back and help set those, but you know, Karen and I can do that on our own or whatever. So just to let you know, we've got 91, I think, that IMI has already been paid for through grant money last year to make those for us. They can only make 6 a day, I think. Karen asked Keith, White House Road Department, to check with IMI and see how many they have in stock that can be delivered. And if they've got them, then we'll get those also and get them stacked up down to the recycling plant. Later on, you're going to see, you know, in the new business about I put the chain link fence bid back in there for around recycling. You know, since we're going to do this block thing, I think the only thing we're going to have left to do as far as opening is to put a chain link gate right there going into where the dumpsters are, which is, you know, probably a 20-foot sliding gate. And so after we get the block set, then I think that'd be the perfect time to talk about doing that gate. And that way it'd seal off that whole property, keep people out of there on the weekends and things. That's all.
All right, Veterans Committee report.
Excuse me, sorry, Travis, what were those concrete blocks for? I didn't hear.
They're going to stack them, I don't know, 2 or maybe 3 high to make all the way across the back and then make separate bins for each
Storage areas.
Okay.
Made
Okay.
or,
Recycling?
you know,
Okay.
electronics in this one, plastics in this one.
Thank you.
You know, it's
Missed
just
that.
storage, basically.
Barbara.
Amvest Post 129 will be conducting a flag retirement ceremony for the Moose Lodge, September the 11th. I know where the Moose Lodge is, right up there off of Reese River. believe it's recent. I invite everybody to come out for that. Of course, I will not be available for that, I'll be someplace else. And, this may or may not be appropriate for today, but we won't be in session on 9/11, but I'd like to take a moment of silence for 20-year anniversary of 9/11, if that's okay.
Please do. Let's do it.
Thank you.
That is pretty incredible that you got kids graduating high school the day that weren't even born when that happened. Obviously, that's an issue. Equipment committee reports. What are moving?
There's a couple of things. First thing, I'm trying to clear a couple things up just for court records. I think we need a letter notifying Bill Collins that we are canceling the request for that land that we had on order, that they can't get. So we won't pop up a year from now and say, hey, y'all got a land down. Okay, just simple letter. Okay, be in the court records that I had. The other thing is,
You want to maybe make a formal motion to cancel the order for that dam?
if that's what needs to be done.
That'll show up in the minutes and that'll be probably more issue. Yeah, that'd be appropriate.
I request a motion to rescind our order with Bill Collins on the transit lane.
Okay, we got a motion.
I'll second that.
And Squire Brewer seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. So I'll get a letter out to you.
Okay. Now, we need another thing to reach a decision on, and that is on the court instruction committee to order the Hearst, and then everything hit the fan.
You want a motion to rescind that?
No, I want a motion for the court to reach a decision on what they want me to do. I called down there, I don't have the authority to cancel the order. This court gave me the order to do it, and I did it, but then everything blowed all up. And I want this court to tell me what they want to do. And I called the gentleman down there and told him that just to hold up on it, that I didn't have the authority.
I'll make a motion that we cancel that decision to purchase a used purse for the coroner's office.
I'll second that. I do have some discussion.
All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I read in the minutes that that motion was not to purchase it, but was for you to inspect it and test it.
No, it was to purchase it, and then I had to go down there and check it out and make sure it's okay. And if I passed it, then we would purchase it.
Okay. We've got a motion to rescind that action. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Second to catch up, please.
Yeah. Thank you.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
No.
Squire Beaverson,
Can you say the motion again, please?
canceled the decision to purchase a hearse for the coroner.
Yes.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Jeremy.
No. Motion passes, and we will cancel that. And, we will pursue other avenues to.
I am no longer going to be buying equipment for the county.
Okay.
I'm turning it over. Tim, you're on the committee. You can take it.
Sure.
Because I cannot be stabbed in the back anymore.
Okay.
Please clarify that, because I didn't do that. That just sort of sounded like you said I stabbed you in the
Well, how
back.
you vote?
Huh?
just voted, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Y'all
So
tell
we'll-
me,
we
y'all
still
tell,
need-
you told me to do one thing, then you turn around and vote against it. You're gonna make a
That
hell of a
was,
judge.
that was based
You're
on
gonna
the
make a hell
information
of a
that you
judge.
gave me.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Anything else with the equipment committee? If not, telecommunications, for you or something?
I have nothing.
All right. Still working on the static, but, got it knocked out pretty good on so far. And our phone system, thank God we finally updated our phone system. And I think there's still just a little bit of work yet to do on that. Lowry, we're finally to you. I don't know that it's necessary that you come in and obviously you were very entertained and not bored to death, but basically this is to present the tax rates for the Spencer County Conservation District and the Spencer County, or Plum Creek Watershed Conservancy.
It also helps us with our soil conservation state board that I present this to you. So that's also.
Do they, I don't know that they require you to do that in person, but we love seeing them. So.
Thank you. Good morning, Judge and members of the court. I've come to present the tax rate for Spencer County Soil Conservation and for Plum Creek Watershed. They're the same as they've been for years. For the soil conservation is 0.0087, and for the Plum Creek Watershed, 0.010. I just ask that you all accept those. We also sent a copy of the annual report to you all digitally. If you'll just spare me a minute, go a little bit over what we do at soil conservation. We have programs where we distribute different monies to different farmers around the county. The district cost share, we distribute $35,000, and the state cost share is $120,000, which we get through the Ag Development Board. And there's a youth program that we distribute $5,000. There are several federal programs run through NRCS. There also is a new program being started just this year. It's on Little Beach Creek Watershed. They're trying to keep some of the phosphorus out of the lake, and one way is to have the farmers in that watershed do different things to control the runoff. It's a new program I just started. We also have most of the time people pay the taxes, the soil conservation, they don't know what it goes for. Well, we're starting a new program for homeowners, not just farm. Most of our programs are for farms, and this is one, just if you have a house and you want a tree, we'll pay for half of it. That kind of describes what we do. We also have 2 7-foot drills and a lime spreader that we rent out to different farmers for different uses. We help farmers with water quality certification, and we also pay for soil samples for anybody in the county. The annual report shows educational components that the district sponsors, helps to sponsor. Jay Claypool posted an essay contest. It's been in effect since the 70s. We've been sponsoring an essay contest since 1946. This past program only had FFA participants supported by Ms. Darwin Hamilton, the FFA teacher. We also have a tree seedling giveaway in April. Our administrative secretary works with the children at the daycare next to our office, showing different stages of monarch butterflies and marigold. We also have a pollinator crop. The district works with the Plum Creek Watershed, and this year they spent about $10,000 to clean up the creek. For several years, we weren't allowed to touch the creek because of the division of water. They didn't want to disturb a little fish or a snail or something. But now we can get in, we hire somebody to go in, and we give the rock away. All you've got to do is we load it for you. All you got to do is bring a truck in. It's hauled out. And we spent $10,000 on that this year. Does anybody have any questions?
On the cleaning out the creek itself, how far up towards Old Heading are you?
We've gone all the way from down below Watershed, the 44 crossing. We started down there close to the river. We don't get real close because it's very, very good. And it's gone all the way up to Mr. Stylberg's, where the Plum Creek turns up there. That's as far as we go. We've done that once, and we're going to start off probably next year.
Are you going to get up along Old Heading Road anytime? Because I've got the person that lives there that asks me that question every year.
I don't think they go up that far. I don't know. We can maybe check with them and see what they're going to do. You want? I'll check and find out.
I know one of the things that Road Farm and I talked about for some time is the possibility of replacing that bridge on the Heading. Wash over the bridge, it's just an obstruction. And they have to close it every time.
I don't think they go any further than where we've gone, which is, where the Plum Creek Road turns up the hill.
Right.
I think that's about as far as we go.
Whose decision was that, not to go further than that?
Plum Creek Road. And I don't know if they could even, one of our big problems with this is, we can get into the creek and do everything, but you've got to be able to get trucks out of the creek. And we ran into a problem this year where we messed up somebody's land where the trucks came out and messed it up, so we had to spend really much money fixing it. But it's not easy getting in and out of the creeks.
And I know soil conservation, the dead animal pickup, you all subsidize that county for years until we switched before last. That turned out to be not a great arrangement, so now we've switched again to the company out of Lexington. But we appreciate your all's support on that. It's a good program. Any other questions?
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the tax rate. That's for a motion. Sorry.
The next one is the Spencer County Board of Education has presented their tax rates. That's essentially all. I thought, Doug, I thought, and I know that it has come into our office, and now even fire tax rates has been presented. And those are in my office. I don't know why.
We just got those yesterday morning.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't have a copy of it.
I go print you out one off the computer. I go print you one off my computer.
That'd be great, and that way we can go ahead and get it presented to the court. Let's see here. It's not,
It was emailed to us yesterday.
oh, was it emailed? Okay, good.
I had good eyesight.
Yeah, intended, and if you would, please just add that to the agenda, the Mount Eaton Fire District tax rates presentation. If you would add that.
Sure.
Okay. And let's see, next up is under old business rates. Ron, we've already dealt with that issue, as far as I know. And the ordinance number 1 amendment, we've already dealt with that issue. No.
Yes.
Yes, we did, I'm sorry. So So that is completed. Ordinance number 2 is a budget amendment. We do need to approve the second reading of a budget amendment. So I'll entertain a motion. We did get that back from Frankfurt, obviously. We approved it, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading of.
Motion to approve second reading.
We got a motion
Second.
and a second for Mike Moody. And a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And next up is the Cdpg Utility Assistance Grant. There are some documents that I need the court to authorize me to sign, and that is a fair housing. Well, let's take these one at a time. We need to approve the resolution, fair housing resolution, and this is as it pertains to the Cdpg utility grant. I'll entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
We've got a motion.
Second.
And we've got a second. Any questions, comments?
Well, one for everybody.
I got one question.
All right.
They say there's no stupid questions, but what does the CDBG stand for?
Community Development Block Grant. Okay, say it real quick, because I'll tell you what, everybody at Kipling can rattle that off like it's nothing. And I always get tongue twisted with it. CDPG grant, Community Development Block Grant. So we've got a motion and a second. We need to call the roll. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Also have a this is again, there's 3 documents here regarding the Cdpg grant. The second one is Guide Form Residential Anti-Displacement and Relocation Assistance Plan under Section 104D of the Housing and Community Development Act. I just need a motion that we do adopt that so that I can go ahead and sign off on it, authorize me to sign off on that document. These are required because it's a federal grant.
Motion to adopt.
We've got a motion.
I'm sorry, what's the document called?
Guide Form Residential Anti-Displacement and Relocation Assistance Plan. It's in the packet. Under Section 104D of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended.
The whole thing needs to be in the motion?
I'm sorry?
The whole, all of that needs to be?
Yeah, I suppose so. As it pertains to the Cdpg Utility Assistance Grant, and I'm just asking for a motion to approve me signing that. And again, this is something that's required because it is a federal grant. Welcome to the strings attached to any federal money. So we've got a motion by Squire Travis.
Second.
And we've got a second by Mike Moody. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We've got one more, Cdpg procurement code. And is that going to require my signature? It's 7 pages.
Motion to approve.
We've got a motion.
Second.
And we've got a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next up is animal control new hire. That came up at our last meeting. And we did approve that, but you all wanted to see the background check. I've got that. I think emailed that to two of you and Tim. Okay. Does anybody else have an interest in seeing this background check? I wanted to go ahead and approve and get her on board because Nick was kind of on his own over there. Anyway, does anybody want to see the background check? There is one item. This is redacted, so I can't pass it around, but there's no expired registration plate was dismissed. That was back in 2015. Same date in 2015. No expired Kentucky registration received, dismissed. So there's basically a clean background. Assume that's the
You should be working at the animal shelter, is that right?
animal shelter.
With Nick Brooks, isn't it?
Fulkerson,
Wilkerson.
Wilkerson, sorry. Just thinking Laura.
Okay, so,
I make a motion that we hire Victoria Shelburne at the animal shelter for a pay rate of $14 an hour.
we've actually already done that.
Okay.
It's just subject to you all seeing the background check. Does everybody want to see these background checks, or is it just sort of movie, or you? I know you were concerned about. Okay, do we have to, my concern, and this was a concern that I had in this situation, it was 3 weeks before our next meeting. We approve hiring, but subject to you all seeing the background check, that means we wait 3 weeks before we can actually put her on, and it was like,
Well, you could do the background check before you brought it in.
well, there's no sense in doing background checks if we're not gonna hire somebody, so.
I think we've turned one person down in the last 2.5 years.
I mean, if you want me to do that, it's okay.
Well, you can hire them with.
I'm just trying to speed the process up. I mean, if we can get by with you and somebody else approving it, and rather than me have to put it on the agenda for the next court meeting and waiting, in this case it was 3 weeks, generally 2 weeks. I'm just trying to speed that process up.
They can be hired, and then if the background check comes back, they can be fired. Many companies do that.
Yeah, I'd rather not do that.
I do have a comment about this. I strongly disagree with how this was handled. The court voted one way, and then you totally went a different way on that. I think that's a total disrespect to the court.
That was not intended.
There's reason why there's 6 of us on this court.
Mhm.
I just totally disagree with that. That ain't the first time that's happened. I certainly hope that it would be the last time.
Okay.
It just wasn't the right thing to do.
Okay.
It wasn't an emergency. We could have held a special meeting. We could have held it Zoom. I know you was going to go on vacation. We could have held it Zoom, so it just could have been handled better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, we're going to move on. And the next item is get the contract for managing our ARPA funds. That was rejected the last time. I think that's what we had addressed earlier in the meeting. And I think that they put together a pretty good proposal to handle our ARPA funds. So this was, who asked for this to be put back on?
I did.
Square Travis on.
Well, you can see the information in the packet that I put together there, and I would strongly recommend that we enter into this contract with KIPTA, because this is what KIPTA does, and they're going to do this for 10 years for the county, and because that's how long the
6 years basically, I think.
Danielle said 10. So anyway, I'll take her word for it. And so they're going to be there to, just help us along. And if not, it's going to throw that work on Doug and Brittany and Molly, and they may not be around, 10 years from now, probably none of us. So instead of hand-tying future courts with this matter, we can settle it, and it'll be done from now on until the money's spent. So I think it's a no-brainer that we enter. It's not costing us anything, and let them worry about all of it. paperwork and the changes at federal level that's gonna come down and the guidelines and all that. So I just, I strongly recommend we do this.
Well, it will cost, just shy of $19,000 in 2 tranches, depending on if we draw that second tranche out. But that is paid out of the ARPA money.
That's what I
So
said, it costs us nothing.
It costs us $19,000 of ARPA funds, not out of the general fund. So I understand what you're saying. Just want to clarify that. So, I think that, we've got a lot of things to consider here, working with some of these federal.
Let's get a motion,
monies.
and discussion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we enter the contract.
We've got a motion.
KIPTA.
For discussion, I'll second.
Okay, we've got a second. I'm just telling you, there's a whole lot to managing federal grants, and reporting, getting a grant is one thing. It's administering that grant and doing all your reporting, and this is a direct from the U.S. Treasury, so I'm going to strongly recommend that, with long and hard, please approve this contract. We've got some, probably, we don't want to reveal publicly that maybe I'm not authorized to do, but we are going to be real short-handed in my office in January. So there's going to be definitely some value. What KIPTA will do, and they've already kind of been helping me a little bit on certain things, but they'll help develop a strategy for how we handle and what we do with our ARPA funds. They are plugged into all the other ad districts and counties. They're going to be far more aware of what other counties have done to use the ARPA money, and they will help us develop the reasoning and for expending those funds. So sometimes it's just how it's worded. So there's still a lot of questions about what we can use the money for. There are some that are going to be patently obvious. That's going to come up next on the agenda. But other things, for example, we are going to be purchasing an ambulance. And I think Shelby County is planning to use ARPA money to purchase an ambulance. But I don't know the particular circumstances. I don't think we can use it to purchase an ambulance to replace that ambulance. I don't know if that's what Shelby County plans to do. Anyway, we've got a motion and we've got a second to approve the agreement with KIPTA to manage our ARPA funds. Any other comments, questions, or concerns?
I know that there's some issues and concerns about the ARPA money in general, but I'd be willing to say that, because this came from the federal government, I'd be willing to say that none of us gave back the money that the states and the government gave us to spend on our own families. And I treat this the same way. Our counties, our citizens in our counties have paid taxes. This is money that they're giving back to improve our county. I think we need to spend, I think we need to utilize this money to enhance our county and the residents in our county.
Well, obviously, this is in reference to...
I understand that, but it's all part of our money.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Strongly urge you do not vote this motion down, but it's going to be up to each one of you all individually. So if there are no more comments, please call the roll.
Squire Jerry Moody,
No.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
No.
Squire Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley,
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Motion passes. We will go ahead and notify KIPTA and sign that. Next up is the Semertech equipment. We had a presentation at the last meeting about that. And Sonic Johnson, who was here for that presentation, finally about 3 o'clock, I think 2 or 3 o'clock this morning, sent me the answers that I distributed to everybody. I know that that's at the last meeting, but you all had some questions, and that's addressed in the letter and the documents. Yeah, that's out.
I'd like to continue this until a further meeting in the future, so that we can review the information we received.
Okay.
I'm also doing some other research myself.
Okay, motion to continue this to the next meeting. I'll second that.
Who made the
All in
motion?
favor, say aye. Squire Brewer. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We will continue that to the next meeting. And next up is, county clerk has a recommendation to do some cleaning and flooring. I think that was in the last meeting. Who's carrying the ball on that? Clerk?
Yeah, I asked for this to be put back on the agenda because I just want to remind the court that, if I'm not mistaken, I asked for painting and flooring to be added to the budget when you all were discussing the budget. And at that time, I was told, I believe by Squire Gary Moody, that it didn't necessarily have to go into the budget, that it could be brought up at a later date. And he referenced vehicles being purchased that had not been budgeted. The carpet in our office is snagged, it's in bad shape. You can't get it clean. I want to replace it with vinyl planking flooring, and the painting, on some of the walls, there's 3 different shades from different paint jobs over the years. These 2 things really need to be done. If you look at the PDA's office, she's got new floor in there. It looks a lot more professional and clean. And again, this was discussed earlier in the budgeting process, so I did try to bring it forward at an earlier date. So my recommendation is for KLS renovations, the cost of $9,348.56. They're local, they live in Earlywine. They do a lot of work for other businesses here in the county. They're doing the chambers renovations. They will put counties, the work for counties before they take work for other counties like in Jefferson County, because they want to work for the residents of this county because they live here. So I would appreciate the court's approval to move forward with this work. Or at least vote on it.
I'll make a motion to approve KLS renovations for $9,348.56.
Second.
And
We've got a motion and a second. Hang on just a second, Squire. The motion was for KLS's proposal to do both flooring and painting?
Yes.
Okay, for a total of how much?
$348.56.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, we keep talking about, we're going to get the courthouse renovation and all that, and why spend money on the courthouse? And I think that's a valid reason why, we shouldn't. But again, we don't know when that's going to happen. It may never. So it's not set in stone. So that's why I'm in favor of this. Because we don't know when the state's going to come in and renovate our courthouse. It may be 10 years down the road.
Any other comments, questions?
Where we gonna take this money out of? You know? Can't I think that is, or is there money in there?
County clerk.
Man, I think there's a couple different places we can take it, but we got the 730s.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Don't do it to me, sorry, Travis.
You can make that our budget.
I got a place in my
Salary budget?
So on House Bill 537, there's, or House Bill 537, we do have money in the accounts.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Call the roll, please.
Squire Mike Moody,
No.
Squire Peterson,
Yes.
Judge Riley,
No?
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody,
Yes.
Squire Brewer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Move on county clerk, e-book, charging cabinets. Something that she's gonna need for some of the election equipment.
If you all haven't seen these yet, this is called e-poll book. The State Board of Elections will no longer be sending us paper rosters. If you remember when you went to the precinct to vote before, they looked your name up in a big book of paper and you signed on the line. They are no longer going to do that. It's expensive for them. We send all those rosters back after the election and get credit for every voter who votes, but they have to go through those rosters page by page. It's a time-consuming and expensive prospect for the State Board of Elections to do. When we had COVID last year, they refused to send out any paper rosters whatsoever. They will never be sending out paper rosters again. So this is an e-poll book, and when you voted last year, you went to wherever you voted at, there's a little camera in the back of here, and they scan your driver's license in, so that satisfies a requirement for a picture ID, which is also in statute that you have to have a picture ID, or you have to sign an affidavit and show other identifications. And there's provisions in this e-poll book to accommodate that as well. So this is the e-poll book. We've got 24 of them in total. They are in boxes, but we've already got some that have got broken cases. You can't take them out of the cases. They have to be like this so they can put them up at the precinct. So what I'm asking for, and the Hopkins County clerk sent me a picture of what she got. It's a storage cabinet. It's secure. You can lock it. You store these, and you can charge them while they're storing. You store them like this, kind of like the old record albums. But you store them this way. You can charge them. You can lock the case up. They're secure. You can roll them from one place to the other. There's money in the line item for election equipment. The one I am recommending is the Garrett, and it holds 32 e-poll books, and it is at a cost of $803.
Make a motion that we purchase the Garrett laptop charging cart for $803.
I'll second.
Is there shipping on that? The Hopkins County clerk had almost $400 in shipping costs for 2 units. And the second unit on there that we had, you had one that laptop charging part, and then the other one was a table Chromebook charging. Are there two different?
Yes, there were two different ones. I went to this site that I found the one on.
But you only need one.
I just need one.
Okay.
She ordered two, and it was like $1,800, and I thought the cost was going to be $1,800 at first, but I only need one because we only have 24 e-poll books.
So either one of those would work for you?
Yes, either one. The one that I am recommending, though, is the one that the Hopkins County clerk got, and she's pleased with it. She said it works quite well, it's secure, and it does the job.
The 803 and Square Road motion, is that going to cover everything shipping on?
I don't know. That's a good question.
On the invoice for Hopkins County, it has the regular price list, is they look great, but they got it for $762.85.
I think because she bought two. Yeah, I think you might get a discount if you buy more than one. Shipping here, it looks like $381, so maybe there's a couple $100 shipping. I'm sorry, I really don't know.
The motion should be amended to not to exceed $1,000.
It may exceed $1,000.
803 and 200, I don't think it will.
Well, I'll amend my motion to up to $1,200, which includes the cabinet plus shipping.
Okay.
I don't think you made that motion.
I think Tim made the motion.
Oh.
Are you amending?
You want to
so-
amend?
But I will do that, yes.
I want to get this meeting over.
Brett, you seconded it. Okay.
Wasn't real sure.
The motion now is to
I'm getting hungry.
authorize up to $1,200 for these storage cabinets.
Sorry, Peterson, you second that, or was
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so confused. I apologize.
Any other discussion?
You are.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you. Oh, can I, just one real quick thing on the election equipment? We're gonna clean out the election equipment storage area next week. There's a lot of old signs, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be thrown out, a lot of other stuff that needs to be stored somewhere else. A couple county employees are gonna help me, and then my custodial lady is gonna do the actual cleaning. So hopefully by the end of next week, or the week after, we will take possession of the new voting equipment. At that time, I'm going to try to ask someone from Park to do a video demonstration, possibly a Facebook Live presentation, so we could have it on record, and if anybody's interested in seeing how the equipment works, they could just go to the Facebook Live video and watch it, which I think is a good idea, just to educate everybody.
Okay. Next up is the Ray Jewell Park improvements, and I've got the agenda summary sheet in there. There's more and more. And that explains pretty much where we are. We were approved for a federal land and water 50-50 matching grant. The Baseball Association and Brian Bears Foundation stepped up on phase 1 and provided 100% of that 50% match. So it didn't cost fiscal court anything for phase 1. And this is for phase 2. The Baseball Association, obviously, because of the COVID issue, and same thing with the Brian Bears Foundation, they're not going to be in a position to provide that match. ARPA money, in talking with Danielle, we cannot use ARPA money to provide a match for a federal grant. However, we can do the project 100% out of ARPA money, if that makes sense to you. So we just can't use the federal money to provide a match to a federal grant. So the proposal, and I'd like to have a motion to reject the federal land and water grant that we've been approved for phase 2, and to pay for the entire phase 2 project with ARPA funds.
Well, I'd like to say that I really support what they do with youth in schools. They're in disagreement, for them to put up the lights, and everything went well, but it hasn't been completed. When that project was started, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, maybe longer.
Maybe a little bit longer.
I know we applied for the grants
Yeah,
for
they
years.
finally came through, they use those existing poles, which is terrific. And those poles were supposed to be painted before they were installed. And then they said, no, it's better to paint them once they're up. They're still not painted. That was a commitment by the people that, that put them up.
Okay.
And so it's still not been done. We got rusty poles up there, and they're not looking that good. But I'm sure structurally they're fine. I'm sure it's just surface.
Okay.
However, they've not completed their obligation on the previous project at this point.
Have they been paid?
Yeah, by state.
There's 4 poles.
I think there's more than that. How many poles are up? I think
Well,
there's
that's on phase 2. They use I think 2 of the existing poles that was done in phase 1.
Yeah, but they're all supposed to be painted.
Right.
And they're not.
Okay, and I assume you're going to be looking into that and talking to the Baseball Association folks.
No, they made the obligation, it's up to them to do it. You'll have to go back and look at the minutes, it's all discussed, it's in the minutes.
Right.
But they were going to do that.
Okay.
I don't remember who made that.
Okay, so
Back to the minutes there.
what is your recommendation?
I recommend we don't do anything today. We don't have to do anything today on this. And I recommend we don't do anything until that's completed.
Okay.
I think it's fair that if somebody that says they're going to do something, that they do it.
Okay.
Was that the responsibility of the contractor or the Little League Association?
I think it was the
There
Little
were-
League Association.
There were several people involved in that. Wittenberg, what's the fellow with Wittenberg? He's an engineer, has been very helpful on developing and working with UK4, our engineers, on developing the specs for this phase 2. But your recommendation is just scrap it all until those poles are painted.
Well, I think we need to put any recommendation on hold until they complete the first part.
Well, that really shouldn't prevent us from moving forward, but if that's,
Well, the
that's
rest,
a recommendation.
everybody else can vote a different way.
I would hate to see them hold up that progress, but I think there needs to be something that says that these guys need to finish this project,
That's correct.
and we need to give them a deadline.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I believe that part of that would be done in conjunction with phase 2, but.
And I would like to see something in writing before I vote on phase 2 to do that.
Well, I'm gonna turn it over to you guys and, I'm
Well,
gonna.
we turned it over to them 2 years ago.
Well, I'm gonna turn it over to you guys and I'll let you all work with Baseball Association, Brian Bears, and try to develop
I'll make a
plan.
motion that the county judge contacts the baseball association, because you're the administrator.
I have, and I've talked to them, and I feel confident that those poles will be painted as a part of the process of phase 2. But you want them to come in and paint them before we even start phase 2, and
Well, I think
that's fine.
If we have a subdivision drawing,
I'll tell them, so we're just gonna hold up.
before we release the bonds in that situation, it would be completed.
Right, okay.
And I think this ought to be completed.
All right.
And I support what they do at 100%. I've seen very positive outcomes with kids involved in sports.
Has there been discussion of?
There has been.
We haven't been privy.
As a
to
part
that.
of,
But I mean, you know,
yeah,
if there was discussion of, hey, we will do this as part of phase 2, I'd like
that's
to
my
see that.
understanding, that they wanted to paint those poles as a part of phase 2, not an extra cost, because we've already paid for it.
Right.
Okay, but as a part of doing phase 2 project, to get all those poles painted, the poles in phase 1, the poles in phase 2, and them all painted.
Why would the poles in
But-
phase 2 need to be painted? Why would the new poles need to be painted? 'Cause we don't-
They're existing, because they're the same as what we have with.
That's the ones we already put up, we're supposed to already be painted.
No, no. We still have more poles laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, we did not use all of them, I think we're gonna use 4. 2 of those are also gonna be used to light the phase 2.
Yeah.
And that there'll be 2 additional poles put up. So,
Well, I sure wish we would have negotiated that and had it in writing
I would.
in the first contract, if that's what they wanted to do. I mean, that was gonna.
Well, I have,
Yeah.
No, they were gonna do that.
Right.
I have
First, they were gonna do it
assurances that
before
that's
they
what
were
was gonna
installed,
happen.
before they were ready, they were gonna paint them. And they said, no, it'd be easier to do it once it is up, and as soon as we're up, we'll do it.
When we get to the point, is phase 2 gonna have to be bid out?
Yeah.
Different company?
Yes.
Well, what if a different company gets it than what phase 1 did? Then who's gonna finish phase 1?
Unlikely, but it was not the contractor, it was, all Brown is his name, with Wittenberg, that, he was gonna have his people do that, and it didn't happen. He's assured me that they will be painted. But we're just, you tell me what you wanna do, when we're wrong.
I would think you contact them and say, look, these poles need to be painted, that was part of the contract. Let's get that work done before winter time comes.
I'd like to just go ahead and continue this to the next meeting, and then we will have a discussion next meeting. I make a motion that we continue this, the motion to meeting.
Motion to continue.
Did you not have a motion?
No.
Okay.
Second.
And second, on Mike Moody. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We're gonna move on. Animal control, F-350, the air conditioning needs to be repaired on that. We've gotten a quote from Daughtry's, total just under $1,700. Provide approval, we'll go ahead and get that done.
Motion to approve?
We got a motion.
Is that Squire Peterson?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Square Brewer. Second, any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
So Two opposed, motion passes. Okay, we'll get that done.
On that motion, I want y'all to understand that air conditioner is working, it's putting out 70 degrees. When it's 90 degrees, it's putting out 70 degrees. They will not guarantee it to do any more than 70 for spending this money.
Okay.
So y'all are going.
Well, the discussion was before we did our vote.
Voting off.
Okay, well, let's see here, we're nearly 2 hours into this meeting, so, does anybody want a short break? It would be good. How about a 3.5-minute break?
You all right?
Yeah, get stabbed in the back.
That's cleaning the creek out. There's, it's called one step method. It's in KRS. I'm like, whoever that is, you can't clean the creek out like in the spring. But you do it in the fall. I don't, where you walk up. Like we're allowed to strap on the weekend far. I really don't know how far the watershed goes. I
think it's part of getting older, I feel that way every morning. I get that.
Wash over the original old penny, it's that property, as soon as you go over
It's
the
not gonna
bridge.
get any better, probably.
All of them too. And it flooded, it backs up flooded. He was asking about it.
I mean, I don't know why they couldn't do it in the bathroom. As long as that's in their jurisdiction, why they can't do it in there one morning. Of course, what they have to do is they have to call that excavator. You gotta have a rubber track. And it's still
Pretty
track.
hard shower there a while ago.
Give me anything really like that this morning, so nobody. You just go in there and do it.
Even one quick watershed doesn't have a penny.
No, haven't, no. If he owns it, he can do it. Even if he has to go across the line, they tell him he can't. No restrictions.
I got people over there in the corner coming over, it's like, well, which way to go? Maybe we're going to get away. It makes it sound like it'd be over, but it's 30 or so, it's 40. Well, I know that's probably. I wondered, you know, it's hilarious, looking back there, knowing he started on his own for a few years.
He may be able to give it to somebody that needs it.
Sit there,
Yeah.
We may not be able to.
I'll say that to you back.
It's called the one-step method, and that's what the Plum Creek Watershed uses. One-step
So
method,
the cloud thing
you don't
we're
have
talking
to notify
about.
nobody.
Well, I wonder, like I said, talk to Laura. If they
Yes,
would,
simply because.
Wouldn't be
we talked about
$10,000 for that
We
section.
shot all those, that's why we put.
But I'm sure he'll check into it.
Portable units are those.
But it's like he said, they started there at water,
85 degrees
and
when
then
we
they
came
went up the
in.
creek. Of course, you gotta get permission to come out of the creek from different people.
Right.
And I don't know how many years we've been doing it. People along the creek were satisfied that it's helping. And before that, we was paying that tax, and we wasn't doing nothing. We were just piling up.
I'm saying, if it's
$80,000 piled up.
Let me check with Laura and see if they'll, you know, because he's got a way to get the creek, because they got foliage and stuff. They want to
Yeah.
get in there. They may have to do a little leveling off with
Yeah, you,
excavators on, but
you do a little bit.
and then take it, tear it back out so they can get down in there again.
But I don't know that it would be.
Yeah, let me talk to Lori and see.
I don't-
You know, when you said he talked to you every year.
Well, that was my question, and I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so.
Yeah,
I've been talking to
one
Rick, I've
step
known Rick
method,
forever.
state law.
He's got those kind of systems, not cemetery, but those kind of systems in his house. To put them in his mom and dad's house.
When they load it, you take it as.
And I believe in Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, I mean, you know,
They do
he's
it.
done some
Put it on
background
the truck.
It might be. And, he's back with me, I'll bring it.
I know one farmer got one rod. He had a flatbed truck, but he's taking it and putting it where he feeds his
Everything on
cattle.
Facebook.
Yes.
And the
And
cattle.
the other thing is if you're so.
But anyhow, you can sometimes it's half dirt.
Why did they send those people $1 million? Why don't they put that in the school?
What they do is they'll start on Monday, first Monday of August, generally.
That's where they can
They'll
use
call
them.
everybody with trucks, come get the rock. everybody will show up, if it's good rock, there'll be more people coming. If you got a lot of dirt in it, it ain't so popular, you know. Nobody needs rock and dirt. But if it's big stuff, it ain't as popular as good gravel. So they kind of try to find, you know, because it's useless to pay a man with the excavator, they got no dump trucks.
Thank you for
I got it.
flooring
So,
and painting
but
and
it-
pulpit cabinet. Thank you.
it's working all right.
Well,
And it can be done in any freaking
I was
town.
saying, we don't, when the eventually gonna happen.
The state will tell you, you're not supposed to touch it.
How
Areas out in the middle of the creek.
Cute paint on the wall, you know?
You know, it's,
So I
it's
truly
going against
appreciate
the
a
flow.
little cleaner in there, we can,
Yeah.
yeah, we
You
can
know, have they
mop the
done
floor,
enough?
you know, sweep the floor and stuff.
Oh, residents say yes. So,
Oh,
it
yeah,
does, it
You
is.
know, this doesn't get the traffic, so this is fine.
right.
But this place right here, if it had daily traffic, this would be
It's
ridiculous.
amazing, it just crowds all that crap, so, yeah, and, you know, everybody's got their allergy things going on and stuff, and we've been reported to the health department saying that we had somebody with COVID working, so I got a call from the Wilson Health District that somebody reported, the newspaper has called to see if we had somebody, and it's like, why the hell is it?
Yeah.
The health district said I have to follow up because we got somebody
You know,
called and complained you
of
had
course,
somebody
you
COVID
think
positive
speed can
working.
be good and speed can be
And,
bad.
you know, I said, I
When
had
the water's
somebody
coming
who's
down
going
pretty
to
slow,
and she has
it's
gone
gonna pile up.
for the appropriate
You're
number of
gonna flood.
days. And,
When it's moving
you
on
know,
down.
I was short two deputies.
So when you,
a
of course,
long
you used to
time
take
ago.
dozer, you remember?
So we did what they told us we were supposed to do, and
Yeah,
she
you
said,
can't have steel tracks in there.
the one that
Better not
tested
get caught.
positive,
But anyway,
had it, was pretty sick. She
so when they take it out, that water
And
goes
the
on
girl
fire.
happened to jump
They're
out.
down yourself.
She tested.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
it.
But you're not allowed to.
Still,
If you got big stuff in there,
Now,
they let people call it, stay on, and they come out.
So just don't have.
You know, everything,
She's quarantined for a few days.
they don't want you to get freezed.
All right, let's get started. Well, Brewer, you're seated for 15 seconds in the restroom, and so we're ready to get started. So where were we? The next item is the Cna Security. This is a result of doing our phone conversion to voice over internet, and it has disabled our panic alarm buttons and so forth, and it's going to require a couple of additional pieces of equipment and an additional charge in order to reactivate those panic buttons or security buttons. Yes.
And also, at the end of the month, I'm sent an open-close report from the security company for my office, and I don't know if your office has a keypad that you set when you leave the office or not.
We do not. No.
Okay, our office does, and I don't know, do you have
Yeah,
that, Ken?
I believe Ken does.
Okay, so
They
it's,
send you a report also, or no?
they can, but the thing of it is, I got nothing. I got no opens, no closes, and I said, what's going on? And that's when we found out that when they went to the voice over phone system, that it completely disabled the security. However, the security alarm on the voting election room is intact, because when we were open the last Saturday of August, I set it off, and they responded. So that one's working.
Okay, so,
How long have we had this system?
the
Panic button.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, a long time.
Does that go back to?
I mean, a decade have we had that one?
It was before Bill Carr took office. I'd
Before
say
Bill
it's
Carr,
probably
yeah.
been at least 20 years.
At one time, it wasn't really working. What would happen is if somebody was on the phone and you was to push that button, it wouldn't transfer to another number. It would just give you a business, you know? So, yeah, we got that.
When you push that button, it's my understanding is that the call goes out to the security company who then calls dispatch. So, you know, we talked about it in my office, and it's like, why couldn't we just call 911?
It'd be faster to get help just by
You know,
calling.
and save.
Well, ours was set off accidentally one time, and I went to get the mail. When I came back, everybody in the sheriff's office was going up my front porch, so they responded pretty doggone quick.
Surprised it was a sheriff, was it sheriff or Taylor's PD?
It was the sheriff's office. It was sheriff's
It's in the
office.
city.
because it went off, it goes off directly to the sheriff's office as well.
Okay, motion to approve.
Motion to approve adding the equipment and additional charges for the security buttons, and that would be the county attorney's office, county judge's office, county clerk's office, PBA office, and there might be another office. We got a motion and we got a second, Square Brewer.
Discussion. Now, it says here that there's a $20 monthly fee for each device. How many devices? Does one device cover all the courthouse?
One device, in my understanding, one device covers the county judge's office, the clerk's office, the PDA. The other device covers the county attorney's office.
So there's two devices.
Yes.
So it's $40 a month monitoring fee.
I believe that is correct.
This will take care of the election office as well?
The election office
That's
is fine.
separate.
Okay.
It's separate, it's working.
Well, I heard you say that, but I didn't know if we needed to switch it over.
I think you'd already had one of these.
We have not switched over to voice over
In that?
in that, so that one's is still intact as far as I know.
Good deal.
Okay, motion, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And next up is we put out for requested proposals for audit proposals for our 2020/21 fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021 audit. Initially, we're going back, as you know, for 3 years we used Ed Lentz. And I requested to go ahead and use the independent auditor again for the 2021 audit. And the auditor's initial reply was that no, they wanted to perform the audit out of the auditor's office. But then they came back and changed position, I guess they just innovated and authorized us to use another independent auditor. We put a request out for proposals. We got 2 proposals, and it's up to you all, but I think the proposal from Patrick and Associates is probably the better proposal. They are former state auditor.
Why do you say that they're better than Claudel?
Well, I don't know that they're better, it's just the price is a significant difference in price. $9,500 versus the Shed Allen out of Richmond, Kentucky, proposed $15,000. So the Patrick proposal is clearly the better.
Motion to approve P&A.
Okay, we got a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. EMS cable line, what is that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's for
Some
the
Brett one, I
phone,
don't know.
that's for the phone system. They need more phones over there and are required to run spectrum to run more cable or something. What is it? Do you have a cost on that?
Yeah, what they have over there right now is just 2 phones. And they actually needed to add several other phones, which we don't have to purchase any. Those we have in boxes, but in order to put them in the various locations that were needed, we needed to add some drops, data drops. And so we asked for a price estimate. And we used Brent. Brent's been involved with this whole VoIP upgrade. That's why you don't see 3 different bids out there. He's already familiar with the project.
It's Brent Taylor, Kentucky Tech is going to be doing that, looks like the total cost just under $4,000.
Should be 39, 32, because there's no taxes involved, is it?
Yeah.
Right, 39, 32. So, yeah, I'll make a motion to approve KY Tech to do the data drop upgrade for 39, 32, 50.
All right, we got a motion.
Second.
Travis seconds. Questions, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We've got COVID-19 leave policy. This will be where Mike Libby and Bird are working on this. And the policy is in your packet. We have been continuing to follow the CARES Act, although that ended in December. So this would be a change to that. I'll turn it over to Mike Libby and Brewer.
Basically, we just replaced the old requirements with new. They gave us 14 days under the CARES Act. We're down to 10 days, which equals 64 hours of paid leave for workers. A couple of things that we changed, that you must isolate at home. There's a couple of exceptions to that. If you do not isolate at home, you will be forfeited. The money will be forfeited, and then so will your job. Because we've had incidences where they're telling you that that's where they want you to isolate and quarantine is at home, not out at the park, not out fishing, not out hunting, anything like that. So this does supersede anything that we've had in the past. So people who've already taken been affected by COVID and had to take leave, this does not affect that. It will start all over again.
So this is essentially an amendment to our employee handbook.
That is correct. And this will be in effect until basically we leave office of 2022.
Okay. And,
The county clerk, the sheriff, the jailer, and the county attorney are all elected officials. We chose not to make a policy for their office. However, they are more than capable of accepting the county's or adopting the county's policy if that's what you choose to do so. And that is just perfectly fine. We didn't feel that it was our right to impose, anything on your office. So if you want to adopt it, that's fine. If you want to come up with your own, that's fine as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I've already had people that have had to quarantine
Yes.
because of COVID prior to the adoption of this.
Yes,
This resets the whole
that
thing.
is correct.
So if they have to quarantine again for whatever reason,
That is correct.
okay.
But they're only going to get 64 hours or 10 days, and if something happens after that, they'll have to use their sick time, leave time, personal time, or just not get paid for the time they're off. Under the guidelines, each employee can set their own guidelines. We're not abided by, we're not required to go by anybody else's guidelines. They want every employee to set their own guidelines. There's many employees out there that just say if you get sick, you're not getting paid. So we just thought this was a fair way of ensure, because what we don't want is somebody to be sick and be threatened to not get paid, but still yet come to work and make everybody else sick. We wanted to give them that, afford them that opportunity to stay at home and get well before they come back to work.
As for Ken, in the third paragraph there about the employee losing their job, terminated because of this, what kind of legal problems that can you see down the road? Because that'd be almost like the same thing as saying you get vaccinated or you lose your job, or you wear a mask
I
or
don't
you
think
lose
so,
your job.
because we're giving somebody the work assignment to stay home, and we're paying them to stay home.
A work assignment could always be, you have to be vaccinated or before you come to work.
There are companies out there that's doing that.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying,
We're
what's
just
the
asking to stay
legal
home.
ramifications for the county if this happens, say someone is terminated because of this, and say, hey, you violated my civil rights by doing this. I mean, I'm just making a,
I can check with our insurance carrier, they would be the ones that would have to defend. I would imagine.
We just wouldn't pay them.
And if I'm not mistaken, we are an at-will state, right?
But, still, even though we're at will, you gotta keep your eyes on certain things, on terminating someone, so I think I would give that further, do one of those group emails. Once I find out.
On the previous incident that you're kind of referencing, the employee that was required to quarantine, next thing you know, he's out camping, he's out fishing on Taylor Lake, and doing all kinds of different things.
I'm not identifying any
And
particular
another
person.
And another instance where, I guess he got pulled over, supposed to be in the line, he got pulled over. So I did check with the health district, because it was my understanding that if you're quarantined, you need to be at home. My gosh, they used to, at one point, when they posted sheriff deputies out at your home.
If you've been exposed and now you've got to be quarantined and you don't have any symptoms, and you're in a vehicle by yourself, you're out fishing by yourself, you're out hunting by yourself, but you've got a government entity saying that you have to stay at home, I believe that's a civil rights
Well,
violation.
I know in that particular case, they weren't alone, they weren't by themselves, they were amongst.
I'm only going by what I just
Now,
said, I
when
don't
they
care
got-
about
yeah,
anything that happened
Yeah,
in the
when
past.
they got pulled over, and that's, I called the health district.
But if I'm exposed, and I've got an employer telling me I have to stay at home, I understand not getting around other people. But I'll be damned if they're gonna keep me from going someplace by myself, going fishing, going hunting, doing whatever the hell I wanna do, where I'm not around other people,
Judge, could I add, I know it's not appropriate, but James Allen talked last night and he had some new information.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said at schools, they're considering this week, test and stay. So 2 kids, 1 test positive, instead of making the other kid go home, they're gonna test him every day.
that's what Shelby County does.
And he can stay at school. So, I mean, kind of going along with what Brett's talking about, that might be something new coming up to this body.
Not that I like it any more than anybody else, but the government's saying what we can and can't do. But the point is you need to have a policy. We're paying the employees to stay at home and to get better and stay away from
If you've been exposed and go get tested with a negative test, come back to work.
They had a skating ring in Mount Washington for years, and the liability insurance got sold, no skating ring to get in enough money to pay for the insurance. And what that gentleman did, he closed his first aid room, went ahead and operated for a couple of years without any liability insurance, and no one ever got hurt. And the more sick pay y'all have, the sicker these people are gonna get. That's what it amounts to.
But Brett, that's the reason why you got the guideline down at the bottom down there that you can refer to.
But who's going to enforce those guidelines?
We'll turn it over to the Human Resources Department.
Sounds good.
Oh, of course, we don't have one, but.
They'll get all sick. No, they can't work.
Okay. What are we gonna do?
Well, I think Ken's gonna look into some stuff and we'll look at it again after his advice.
So we're gonna continue this discussion at the next meeting? That
Awesome.
Is that okay with everybody? If so, I'm okay with that myself. Annex painting, we've got a, proposal to paint the front and rear of the annex building. We did power wash that, and now the circuit parts like was painted. We've gotten a couple of estimates. This Country Boy seems to be the better one. It was over $1,000, so I wanted to bring it before you all. Ronnie Hahn has done work for us before, and he does great work, but he's $4,500 versus $1,400, so.
Excuse my ignorance, does,
That is reimbursed by AOC.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't mean to read the line.
you did.
Besides that, Ronnie Hahn painted, if I'm reading this correctly, different parts that's being requested.
No, it's the front and rear exterior.
He is, he's,
Oh, okay, it says it right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, what's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve the $1,400 for Country Boy handyman paint front and rear of the annex building.
All right, we've got a motion.
I'll second.
And we've got a second.
you have a discussion real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
On Ronnie Hines, it asked about, or it says that the back and side and front. I'm assuming that's the reason why his would be more expensive. He's doing $1,500 for the front, $3,000 for the back and side. They're only asking, right, for the front and rear.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
On Country Boy, it's just bid, don't cover the paint. That's a big
It
difference.
says a total, it says a total of, so it does.
It says we will supply all the paint. That's a big difference in a bid.
My understanding is Country Boy, they have done work for us before. I think it was a firm out of Indiana, and this guy worked for them or something. Randy was able to get them to quote it. It is 100% reimbursement
It's
from
on the
AOC.
sheet, but we will supply all paint to be supplied by Country Boys to be supplying the paint.
That's what it said. We will
I
supply
mean,
all
those,
paint.
so that's paint and labor,
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it, instead of, they're not including the paint, so.
So we got a motion and a second to have Country Boy do that work. Any other discussion? I guess we better call the roll on that, I don't know.
Square Brewer,
Yes.
Square Mike Moody,
Yes.
Square Beaverson,
Yes.
Joe Riley,
Yes.
Square Travis.
Yes.
Square Jerry Moody.
No,
Okay, motion passes, and we will get that done. Next up, I'm gonna turn it over to Square Travis.
We'll just delay this until we get the block in place and
Oh,
maybe get another bid for just a gate there.
Okay, and then you'll just let us know when you want to put it back on the agenda, or if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Sheriff Herndon, I see dropped off, I think, did he give everybody a copy of the Mount Eden? Lynn, did you get a copy of that?
I've already sent them to the bill printer.
Okay, good.
I've had.
So, just want to make sure that that is noted in our minutes that the Mount Eden Fire District has presented their tax rates as they are required to do. Next up is invoices, bills, and transfers. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pay the bills and transfers as needed.
We've got a motion.
Second.
And we've got a second. Mike Moody.
I do have a question.
All right, go ahead.
On page 306, and this is Lynn, I take it, reimbursement for parking at the the conference in Louisville, don't they validate the parking?
They did not do that this year.
They didn't,
They
okay.
do not, no, it's, sometimes they do, that's at the golf house?
Yes.
No.
I asked them specifically.
I asked myself and they do not.
Okay, because I know they did when it was over, the other one, on Main Street or Market. They validated it.
Yeah, they
Okay.
did not this year. I provided the bills.
Just quick. And then on page 4, the Asia Motors, 15,500 for people. What vehicle was that? Or what was that $15,000?
It's animal control vehicle.
Animal control.
Is that animal control? Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And that was
Speaking of that,
on the,
Oh, people control, yes.
15,500
Yeah,
Asia Motors.
yeah,
Okay.
that was in,
on the transfers to general road fund.
okay. That's, because of the direct deposit, if I'm not mistaken, that goes to our general fund.
We had 2 direct deposits that's come into the general fund that were road fund related with FEMA on the Love Lane, Dutchman Creek area, I think, is one of them, and then the discretionary money, we got our first reimbursement back on that, and it was sent to the general fund also. And I look at that, I can't really sign a check from general fund to put it to the road fund in the right place till I bring it here to get it approved.
It is confusing to some people when you see transfer from the general fund to the road fund. What the?
Well, I meant to call yours and ask.
Yeah.
Contact from me. So.
So yeah, they direct deposited into our general fund and we just transfer it.
The 281,000 was FEMA related, the 391 is discretionary, and we're still waiting. I think we've had 2 other discretionary reimbursements we've submitted, we haven't got back yet. We're still waiting on Spears Drive, we're still waiting on another FEMA project we've submitted too, that we haven't got reimbursed on. So.
All right. Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We will pay the bills and do the transfers. Is there any other business to come before the court? I think Jerry's gonna make a motion to adjourn. Am I correct?
Motion to adjourn.
I thought so.
My son.
And second by Squire Brewer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Stay here. We're going.
Got up and got in the bathroom.
That over leg, I've broken twice in 10 years.
Oh.
That's our home theater, not
After you walk on it for a little bit, you know, if I walk on
7 o'clock or so here.
working on
We
concrete.
go up and look at them.
I don't know what it is, I really don't. There's no cushion maybe.
Oh, Mike, how you doing? You good? See.
Started, you know, you're gonna develop arthritis.
see.
And can't go steady, you know, as you get older. Plus,
You do?
it is, can't help it.
I thought they cheated.
I think Mike,
$300 for all 15 in there.
That ended up bringing 16, I guess. They have more than what they said, so,
Well, was there 16 there?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it.
so I mean, just have to go across going the other direction.
I'll put them on.
Take care.
You too.
You wanna work the place next year?
Judge, it's good meeting.
You may not be able to.
Since you tried to send it,
I don't think so.
a whole list of.
I mean, it was a good experience.
Different stuff. that-
Well, I'll get 4 or
It's a long
5.
day.
Yeah.
Kick it back.
Yeah, it kicked it back from my
And,
office.
you know, I actually got, I ended up getting a lung
I'll send it to my
infection.
home
I don't know if it was just the exposure
email
to so
and
many
then send
different
it to
people.
you from my home.
But
You did
yeah, I
get
was
that?
sick for a week.
Okay, that's my, that's,
I'll try to respond.
Just,
yeah, I wasn't.
Dorothy, she just comes to turn this off.
It's something to do with our email, and Brittany's had that issue with some other.
I've got 3 or 4 places.